This is a campaign event. How great is this? Where we can lift up Jesus, where we can exercise our freedom to worship God, and come November 3rd, we're going to keep it that way in the United States of America. And I want to tell you the why, and I want to tell you the how. On February 13th, 2016, one of the greatest men, one of the most eloquent and the most articulate defenders of the Constitution, one of the most towering intellects to ever be possessed by a jurist in this country, Antonin Scalia, went to be with the Lord. And at that moment, the court had 8 members, 4 liberals, 4 conservatives. And when we went to the polls on November 8, 2016, we not only decided who was going to sit in the White House, we not only decided who was going to sit behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, we also decided who was going to appoint the justice that would break that 4-4 tie. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes when we're living history, we forget the times in which we live. But when I wrote For God and Country, which came out earlier this year, I was trying to remember when the last time was there was a Supreme Court vacancy on Election Day as people walked into the voting booth and chose their next president. Now, I have a PhD in history, but I didn't know this, and I bet you didn't either. The last time the American people had gone to the polls and elected a president who would choose a Supreme Court justice who would break a 4-4 ideological tie was 1860, when Abraham Lincoln was elected. Wow. There was a segregationist and a pro-slavery advocate, a rabid racist, a Jacksonian Democrat from Virginia by the name of Peter Daniel, and he died in May of 1860. And James Buchanan, who was the president, left that seat open. He didn't fill it, if you can believe it, because he was being impeached in the House. He was a little preoccupied. As soon as Lincoln won, Buchanan rushed to try and fill that vacancy so Lincoln could not. And his judicial nominee, his Supreme Court nominee, was defeated by 1 vote in the U.S. Senate. And that vote was cast by Stephen A. Douglas, who Lincoln had just beat. So when Lincoln walked in the door of the White House, he had 1 vacancy open. 2 more Southerners left the court to follow their states into secession, and Abraham Lincoln filled 3 seats in his first year.
Wow.
And changed the direction of our country. Now, because of the importance of this seat, because of the importance of the Supreme Court, for better or for worse, and I wish it were not this way, but my friends, ultimately, every single issue in our country is decided by these 9 people. Every single one. The right to life was not decided by Congress. Abortion on demand was not the law of the land until Roe v. Wade. Prayer in school was not banned in the public schools of America by any elected official, by any state legislature, by any governor, and certainly not by any president. It was banned by 9 people in black robes. And marriage in America was not redefined by Congress. In fact, by the time the Supreme Court imposed same-sex marriage on all 50 states by judicial fiat, they had only been able to pass that in 13 states. They couldn't even pass it in California. So you see, it all goes to the Supreme Court. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but the third and final presidential debate in 2016, the opening question was about this vacancy. And it was in response to that question that Donald Trump said, if I become president, I'm going to appoint pro-life judges. Roe v. Wade will be overturned as a matter of course. And when Hillary Clinton gave her standard left-wing Planned Parenthood feminist answer to the same question, he turned to her and he said, she just said that she's okay with a baby being ripped from its mother's womb moments before it's born. Now maybe she's okay with that, maybe you're okay with that. I am not okay with that if I become president. And he won the election at that moment. That was what he won. And because born-again evangelical Christians turned out in the largest margins in modern American political history, 37 million of them, and they voted 81% for Donald Trump, the highest share ever received of the evangelical vote by any presidential candidate since polling began. He walked in the door and he kept his promise not just to us, but to the American people. He appointed Neil Gorsuch, he appointed Brett Kavanaugh, and now he's appointed Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, if you want to keep him there, to make sure that he appoints at least one and maybe two more Supreme Court justices. That's what will happen. And another 200 federal judges, and another 50 appellate court judges. Then we need to work harder in the next 5 days than we've ever worked. We need to turn out in the biggest numbers we have ever turned out. We got to get our friends, the people in our Bible studies and our Sunday school classes, at our workplace and our family, you get every one of them to vote. And you may remember that when Amy Coney Barrett went before the Judiciary Committee, not for the High Court, but for the Appellate Court of the Seventh Circuit, Senator Dianne Feinstein of California said, I fear that the dogma lives loudly in your heart, and that is a matter of concern. Well, I've got news for Senator Feinstein, and for the media, and for the press, and the pollsters, and the pundits, and the radical left. The dogma lives loudly in our heart. The dogma lives loudly in our heart. And on November 3rd, we're going to shout it from the housetops. We're going to march